This is the LED Watch Kit from Banggood, which is a self-assembly, self-soldering kit. Basically, you just got one of their small electronic clocks, which is supplied in a plastic casing, which is this thing. And frankly, it's absolutely huge. I don't think anybody is realistically going to use it as a watch. Having said that, put it side by side, what is quite a very chunky watch, and then compare it with this. It's not massively different actually, but look at the thickness of what you're going to end up with. Not entirely sure you're going to want to wear that, but anyway, it's a bit of fun, and that's what all this is about. So a couple of ICs, and let's just open up the bag of components. Nothing weird and wonderful in there. Here's the LEDs. Again, if you've made a Banggood kits before, you'll probably recognise that type of LED. Very heavily potted, and yeah, they're fine. They're quite nice actually. I think this is red LEDs. What else we've got? We've got a battery case holder. I'm not sure what size battery it is. Oh, there we go. CR2032. Okay. And let's have a look at the board and the components. Board is very nicely made, nicely tinned. Let's even get the light a bit better on that. Upside down by the looks of things. So there we go. It's all very straightforward. It's all through hole components, no SMDs, so easy enough to construct. And let's pull the rest of the bits and pieces out. There's some resistors left inside the bag. There you go, handful of resistors. Then what else we got? Some button switches, momentary switches, and a couple of capacitors, ceramic and polystyrene, is it? I can never remember. Got a crystal in there. I don't know if it's got the frequency written on them. But there you go. All very straightforward stuff, through hole components. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just make up the main board, and I don't think you need to see me soldering the board, and we'll go from there. So before I make the board up, I'll just show you this. This is the instructions, which tell you welding the resistors and welding the two integrated circuits. I love how they call the LEDs Nixie tubes. I wish they were Nixie tubes, but there we go. And we have a battery buckle. Do love reading their interpretations, but there we go. I don't think I would ever stand a chance of learning Chinese, so I'm not going to complain. But there we go, there's the schematic of the circuit. There, PCB installation, just to show you where all the components go. Again, all very straightforward. And like I say, let's knock the board together and see what it looks like. Okay, first thing I've done is I've soldered in the three 10k resistors. The lighting is awful here. Well, there you go, you can see them there. Don't know if you can see my hideous soldering almost. If I can focus in. So let's get on to the, I think I'll go for the ICs next. Okay, so we've now soldered on the two ICs, like that, and show you the back. Not too bad, not brilliant, but it'll do. Okay, let's proceed on probably to the capacitors next. Right, so that's the 4 capacitors in. Sorry, 3 capacitors, 2 there, 1 there. So, the next thing is probably going to be the crystal and the momentary switches. So let's solder them in. Okay, so that's the 2 switches installed and the crystal. See the back. There we go. Trying to get the settings right in this camera so it's not quite so dark all the time. Bring it up a bit. So there we go. Okay, so I think the next thing to do is to get the LED in. The reason I want to do the LED next is because the battery case, battery buckle, the battery holder is quite close at the back. If I can just get a pointer or something so I can show you, is quite close to see the pins of the LED. So I want to get the LED in first and then do the battery afterwards. So if I need to bend the battery holder a little bit to keep it away from the LEDs, I can, but I want to make sure the LEDs are seated correctly first. So LEDs are next. Okay, so the LED is now suitably soldered into the board, and the final component is that battery holder. Okay, so that's the board complete. LED, couple of momentary switches, couple of capacitors, and I'm getting the lighting on this camera right. I'm actually just using a tablet camera here, so probably not great quality any rate, so apologies for that. The only polarity that you need to concern yourselves with, other than getting the LED the right way around, is the ICs, and you can see the indents there to indicate where pin 1 is, and they need to be as shown there. It's not straightforward enough, so I suppose the moment of truth actually is to make sure it works is by putting the battery in and see if anything comes to life. So here we go. This is a CR2032 battery. Let's see if we can get it in there. And yes, we have. Let me switch off these lights. Oh, probably a bit too dark. Oh, there we go. Or should it be that way around? I don't know. Perhaps I've got the LEDs up the wrong way around, but there we have it. So, next thing to do is to have a look at the case, which is this bundle of joy, and on the instructions, and I do need to tone down the lighting a bit. There we go. You can see on the instructions that, let me get it, show you a bit better. There's actually quite a few different layers that sandwich the PCB together. So, and they're held together by the 4 nuts and screws. So it makes it a chunky old item. But there you go. That's what all of this is about. So what I'm going to do, I'll start taking this apart, and you can see that it's clear plastic, and they're protected from scratching during transit by brown paper. If I can get a piece of this off to show you, this stuff I find an absolute nightmare to remove. Let's have a go. There we go. So it just peels off like that and reveal a nice clean surface there. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to assemble this as per the instructions, and we'll see what the completed item looks like. One of the things I didn't show you was the strap that comes with it. It's just basically a piece of Velcro, a couple of plastic buckle on one end, and it just wraps over on the other end. Absolutely hideous. I'll show you how it's supposed to fit to the watch in a second, but let's have a look at the completed item, which is here. There she is. And you can see how thick that is with all the different layers of plastic that is used to build it up and sandwich the motherboard in there. But, you know, for basically the price of a ticket to the cinema, you can buy one of these and have a bit of fun in the evening building it up and putting it together. And you can see on this bottom plate that you've got these cutouts, and that's the idea for the strap. You basically thread those through the cutouts and that turns out to be a watch. But to be brutally honest, here's my wrist. Sorry about the closeness of the camera, but that's the setup I've got, which is not good. It's actually not too bad in some respects, but I don't know, not the sort of thing I'd want to wear, but certainly the sort of thing that I like making. These kits from Banggood are extremely cheap, and they're not bad quality. They really aren't. The components seem fine. The motherboard, the PCBs are well made. This plastic casing that you get with so many of these kits is nice. Yeah, it's just a bit different, and as I say, something to do with an evening. So I hope you enjoyed that. That's the LED watch kit from Banggood, and happy soldering. I've got a few more kits coming, and I'll show you those when they turn up, and we'll put those together as well. In the meantime, thanks for watching. Cheers.